Hi guys, welcome back to Savianos Sit Down. Today we get the pleasure of speaking with my dad, the old man, and the guy that's really put me and my brother on a great path to becoming even close to as good a father, restaurateur, man as he was. If we could be just a little bit of that, we're happy. And today we're going to be sharing a few of our Christmas stories with you, and enjoy.
Well, thanks, Anthony. That's really nice of you to say that. You know, as parents, you know, we try to instill good values in our children as they get older. You know, they can instill the same in their children, and it's just nice to hear those words. Thank you.
Well, you've earned them.
Well, thanks, buddy. My kids have asked me, Dad, we'd like to do a little podcast with you, and we'd like to, you know, get some of your Christmas memories. And I think sometimes they expect me to give some magical story about my Christmas memories. Like everyone else, you know, we have those memories that are like when we were children. I remember when I was a child, Christmas was so exciting to me and my brothers and sisters when I believed in Santa Claus and the presents and just the whole thing about Rudolph. Back then we used to sit in front of the TV set and watch those same shows that they'd show year
Christmas
after year.
Story and
Yeah. And I used to look forward to it, you know. I wasn't too cool for that. I used to get into that. It kind of like brought the magic of Christmas back. When I got to an age of understanding, you know, we'd always go to Mass, you know. We always had a nativity. I knew there was a baby Jesus in the manger with all the wise men, and I'd hear the stories, and that all sounded good, but when I got older, it became very personal to me. So throughout all the hustle and bustle, the presents, blah, 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 there was a time at every Christmas, which is a magical time of year, the whole season, in my own heart, I used to just be thankful that I was loved that much by a God who would send his son the way he did to pay the ultimate sacrifice for my shortcomings, and believe me, I have quite a few. But having said that, I remember this one. You want to say something?
Yeah, no,
I've taken over the conversation here.
No, you're getting into some stuff I haven't even heard before. So yeah, I would like to ask you something.
Okay.
The way I guess Jack and I grew up with Christmas, you probably pulled a bunch of stuff from your childhood growing up, and I want to know which stories that you have can you lay on us that you have laid on us, Dad, like, so that way we know, you know, why you did this a certain way, why we cooked this a certain way, or like your uncles, did they do something different that, you know, translated down the family ladder?
Well, you
now?
said something interesting just now. You mentioned food. Now, being Italian, being in this business for over 40 years, and of course the Italian tradition of all the foods we ate every Christmas, that was a very big part of Christmas, you know? Watching my mother, my sisters, my aunts, everybody in the kitchen making all kinds of stuff like bacala and all the feasts, the 7 feasts of the shrimp, the calamari, the octopus, all kinds of just delicacies that we enjoy at that time of year. Yeah, food played a big part in it, you know?
Sure, brought everybody together. It made great family memories. And it's not like you guys were working with that much, but you guys made so much out of what you had. And that's kind of been so representative, kind of how you've raised us.
Well, you know something? It's hard to mention Christmas without reflecting on my mother.
Nanny.
And not just my mother, there's so many mothers. The effort that goes into Christmas way before Christmas is even here. But she just made it so special for us. You know, we didn't have a lot. We didn't, you know, we were, you know, we come from a place of minimal means, but my mother always knew how to make the most of what we did have. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't trade those memories and that upbringing for anything, because it's just so special. We appreciated everything. That's one of those things now these days, you know. I hope that you guys have adopted the appreciation for family, faith. Let me redo that. Faith, family, and food. There we go. I want to put them in the right order. And you can, you know, pass that on and live it. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing, you know. To think that Christmas is about Santa Claus, which Santa Claus is nice. Oh, yeah. You know, Rudolph was always nice. But you got to remember, Santa didn't hang on a tree for the atonement of our sins. Rudolph is not even real. Don't tell the kids that. They don't want to hear that. But, you know, one thing is being a child and enjoying those things that we're led to believe in, fun. And another thing is the reality of what Christmas is all about. Now, believe it or not, I learned so much about food watching the women cook. You know, they cooked it right there in front of us. I mean, I knew how to, a lot of stuff I just, you know, now these days, yeah, I even make the same kind of food. Well, actually, the same exact
salad. And, oh man.
Yeah, just you know, the basic, the Italian traditional food. We we've even stepped it up. Like we were talking to Jack earlier, what we're gonna have for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I'm sorry, and he wanted white clam sauce and he wanted lasagna. Now, you think even in the restaurant business, you're eating that food all day long.
Yeah.
You know, but chances are, you know, you don't eat that all the time because you're around it all day long. But when you're at home with the family and it's Christmas, that's what you want to have. And to be honest with you, so do I.
That's the comfort, though. You know?
Oh yeah.
And okay, what's your favorite Christmas food?
You know, it's a food that's not popular in the American cuisine, but in the Italian cuisine, it's called bacalhau. Now, this is made. It's cod actually. It's salted cod. It needs to be dried out soaked in water for 3 days, changing the water probably 3-4 times a day, and you know, it's floured, it's fried on both sides. It's taken out. You put it in a tray, and you put one pot you'll saute up 3 different color peppers.
Yeah. In
the other pot, you'll make a homemade marinara sauce. Then you'll take these peppers, put it over the top of this we call it calamari, but it's actually cod. Then you'll put the sauce above that. You'll put it in the oven for about half hour. And you know something? When it comes out, it's a taste I'm familiar with, that I crave, and most places don't have this until when it gets close to Christmas.
Right, so that's that eggnog seasonal thing that you feel, and when you have it, you taste it, you're like, this brings me back home. This brings me back to Nanny. This brings me back to all those great times of conversation.
No question about it.
That's funny.
You know? And don't forget, I have 5 siblings in my family, and Christmas, you know, it's broken up in different parts. You know, there was the child, Then it was I had children, you guys and your brother. And Christmas, I knew how you guys were feeling, what you believed, and I tried to hype it up too. About you know the story. I think Santa's on his way, or Rudolph, they spotted him somewhere, and to see you guys buy into that and believe it, you know, it sounds crazy, but a part of me wanted to believe it too.
Yeah, but you were Santa.
Oh, speaking of which, you know, one of the funniest memories I have of Christmas is, you know, growing up in New York, my uncle and his family, 5 kids, they lived down the street, and we'd get together quite a bit. This one particular day, it was in the afternoon. We were all around a table. It wasn't Christmas yet, but it was that season. And eating, you know, it was always sitting at a table with a bunch of us. It was not something out of the ordinary. We did it all the time. One afternoon, maybe late afternoon, I knew my uncle had this Santa Claus costume, and I thought about it at the moment, and somehow I got a hold of it. I don't remember how I got a hold of it. I had no intentions of doing this till the time, you know, it was a spontaneous thing where I thought it would be really funny.
How old are you?
I was probably 19 or 20.
Okay.
So everybody was in there eating, you know, on the table. And I'm like, I'm going to get that suit. And I'm going to be Santa Claus. You know? Here I am, skinny, you know, but I don't know. I felt compelled to do that. But anyway, I put this uniform, a Santa Claus costume on. I stuffed pillows under my stomach. And I really didn't know how to be Santa. I just knew that there was a lot of young kids at the table, ranging from ages 4 to, you know, 15. Some of them were 7, 8, 9, whatever, you know. And don't forget, these people, they believed in Santa Claus, you know. We all did back then. I was older, though. So I put this costume on, stuffed myself underneath, got a bag, a pillow bag, stuffed a bunch of stuff in there, put it around my back, and nobody, including my mother, my aunt, nobody knew I was going to do this. As a matter of fact, I couldn't even believe I was doing it. Well, I walked, you could hear me coming, because I was like yelling things like, ho, 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 Merry Christmas! And you know, I really did it up. I was screaming that, because I really didn't know what Santa said other than, you know, ask kids about what they want for Christmas and this and that. So I started this yelling of ho, ho, ho and Merry Christmas as I'm making my way through the door. And you should have seen these kids' faces light up. Not only their faces, but my mother, oh my God, I've never seen her laugh like that in my life. As a matter of fact, it's so vivid that I can remember how she was laughing. But the more she laughed, and I laughed too. I was laughing so hard, yelling these ho ho ho's and stuff. And I see all the kids looking at me, because I got this nose that's pretty recognizable. They didn't know what to think, but they knew it was you know, they were just so, with that look. And just the scene was just so funny. My aunt, my uncle, everybody was just keeled over laughing. I was too, which made it even more funny. And you know, to this day, they still remember that. But, you know, I'm not sure how funny it sounds right now, but if you were there and you seen these sounds that came out of my mouth for Santa Claus, you'd be laughing too.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I was thinking you were going to go somewhere different with the, you know, the Italian family sitting at the long table, and then them seeing you and saying, what is Sal doing? You know, that's what I thought.
No.
But the fact they got so much, you know, laughing, and they were hysterical.
But don't forget, man, it's about the kids. The kids, even though I was skinny, Santa Claus stuff, the nose, they wanted to believe that Santa Claus came to see them.
Right. But what was in the bag?
Oh, I probably stuffed some clothes in there so it looked puffy.
Well, people looking around saying,
No,
like, hey,
nobody's looking at that,
bag?
right? No. Where I told the kids, I reassured them that they're gonna get a bunch of presents because they've been good, you know, and Santa was proud of them. And then I made my way out the door yelling, "Whoa, ho, ho, Merry Christmas."
You did it up.
Oh my gosh, man. The laughs, just thinking about it, just warms me because sometimes in life you just do things just spontaneously that even a 20-year-old guy back in those days they would think that that's quirky to do that. So, like I say, it's about the kids.
I've never heard that story before.
Really?
No, that's so cool.
You know, I take it for granted sometimes. I just assume that you guys know everything about my childhood and growing up. But yeah, Christmas is such a special time. I don't have any great stories that are gonna, sound so crazy to you guys because I think, everybody has the same kind of stories about Christmas, the memories of. However, I'll tell you this: Christmas is a time where I gauge life.
Reflect.
I reflect on it, yeah, because you realize who's not here anymore, who's passed on. We've gotten older now. Rather look at you guys as kids. You guys have kids yourselves. So one thing, the times change. Christmas changes as you get older. It's a time where you start looking back and you start saying, you're thankful for the memories of Christmas. But it's so important, and I stress this, you cannot minimize the reality of what Christmas really is. Because as you get older, you have less years in front of you than you do behind you. So to think that, life is just one big party and then we die and it's all over is a big mistake.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you guys because you understand the reality of Christmas, and and I know you'll pass it on to your children, but Christmas is special for that reason alone.
Well, you always made it special for us.
Well, one thing's making it special with gifts and
It
the
wasn't
tree
just
and
gifts.
that.
It was a time, You took time. A lot of people they neglect sometimes because they're so captured in what the here and now is, and it's so important that you do give that time to your family. And you were coming up out of nothing, and you still found it in yourself to come and make it special for Jack and I, and put those great dinners together, and watch those watch the movies. With the movie with the guy getting the eye shot out. What's that? I mean, there's just great. There's great memories.
Who's getting the right shot?
I don't know, some kid in the movie.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Go get me.
Yeah.
So shoot him out. What's that guy's name?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, but
it's a mafia movie.
So, as we got older, did you make it a point, or was it just kind of your thing? You wanted to be, because you're the patriarch of our family, obviously, especially now. And last year you held that end of that table, and we were all so proud to see our dad, even at older ages, with kids. And you commanded such a beautiful prayer. You were very humble, and this is a memory that I'm giving you. Like last year, that was special to me.
Well, I'm glad it comes through like that because it's probably the most important thing I can hand you guys down, besides the food and the culture, and that because it was so special to me. And one thing I like to mention also, I've been in the restaurant business between New York and here probably over 40 years, so I have so many friends and customers in New York, and not to mention here in Texas, that we've been here 24, 25 years. And to be able to share this season with these customers who come in, who are not just customers, they're friends, and they come in with their extended families, their parents, and this and that, their kids. We watch these kids grow up over the years. You know, it's so special, it's so dear to my heart to see these people, because when they come in, they're not just, people coming here to eat only, but I just feel like I know them. They're like family.
Well, they're making memories in a place that you put out there, and I feel the same thing. Jack does too. We were talking about it the other day. You see these families get together, and they're in your house,
Right.
which is our house, the restaurant, and they're still going out to eat. They're bringing their family. They're getting together, and that's one of the most beautiful parts of our business, is getting to see that still exists today. A lot of people don't get that,
You're
that
right.
vision, but we get to see it, and sometimes we take it for granted. But especially during this time of year, you start noticing, because there's a lot of people during this time of year who are broken, they're bruised, and those people, you do your best to cheer everybody up, because it's not always, Santa Claus for everybody, and we all know that about life.
You hit on a very, very good topic, very important to realize, to understand. As wonderful as Christmas is for the children, and our memories, and our hearts, and when we reflect, it's so important to remember that there is a certain sadness about Christmas. If you've had the loved ones who made these memories with you who aren't here anymore, just people that life, life changes, you go, like I don't spend as much time with the people I used to spend time with, 30, 40 years ago. A lot of my aunts and uncles, they moved on, But if you've had somebody close to you, pass away.
It's not just that. People, they're alone. They're out on business. They're away from their family. They have a broken family. I mean, there's so much of that. I mean, more than I would like to see.
Well, that's more reason to clutch on
Sure.
to the reality of what Christmas is really all about.
And appreciate that,
And I'm going
we
to
can
tell you what it's
people
all
up.
about, real short, sweet, and simple. There's a God who loved us so much. He knew we were full of sin. He didn't plan it for us to be this way. There was no way for people with sin to be able to, God couldn't allow them into heaven, because God is perfect and clean and white as snow. Well, he had to do something about that. So what he did, what better gift can he give than his own son to come, be born as a human at 33 years old, take the ultimate sacrifice for sin, that anybody who would confess that he is the Son of God and was the atonement for our sin, then they can be forgiven for their sin, and we'd have a way to God the Father. And that's in a nutshell. But when you grasp onto that, there's going to be loneliness, there's going to be these different feelings of Christmas. But you know what? If you got that in front of you, that's the main thing, that somehow you can always find that peace, you always find that joy, and more than anything, the thankfulness. And when you live your life with that kind of thanks, it just makes life real and worth living. Because like it's not, if you're just going through the motions of life and blah blah blah, being
Busy,
blown by the winds of change, you
preoccupied.
either go out of your mind, you get sidetracked with believing there's you could compensate for that in wealth and this and that.
Right. Money's not going to buy
No
you
way.
a beautiful
No way.
Christmas with a beautiful family.
And I'm so proud that you guys understand this. And, you know, like nobody's perfect here. Nobody's wrong. I have more problems than all you.
Far from.
But let's be honest. But the thing is, you know, we could march on with that, you know, hope of glory.
Sure. And you've definitely held the
Yeah.
flag in the front and center for Jack and I, and in doing so.
But, you know, I want to just emphasize one more time, you know, we love our customers. You know, truly, there's people come in here that I just have such an outpouring of love for them, because it's not about business, it's about people. And I've taught you guys that when you focus on the people, that business takes care of itself. And, you know, it's really nice to be able to share some of my thoughts on Christmas with people. So, you know, well, I appreciate you guys letting me do this, because, you know,
Letting you.
well, you know, sometimes I feel like, you know, you guys think I'm old and corny and whatever else.
No.
Yeah,
You have,
fathers have a way of, you know, the world's changing so much that, you know, I have a hard time with my iPhone, which I wouldn't have if it wasn't for you.
Eh,
I don't think I'd have a phone if it wasn't for you.
yeah. Well, there's a lot we might not have without you.
Well, yeah. See, you taught me the phone. Right?
Yeah, and you taught me pizza.
I taught you pizza. It works that good.
Hey, it was
nice
even
change.
exchange. You know.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steve Jobs.
Yeah. So let me see what. Oh, not to mention, you know, back in New York, there's snow. You know, back then it used to snow a lot. Now all of a sudden it's not snowing that much. But I used to ask myself, when it wasn't snowing, as a kid, you start to ask yourself, how's Santa gonna get here on the sled with no snow on the ground? You know. Or as a child, you make up in your mind, you know, whatever. Santa flies. You
Well,
know.
he's got Rudolph.
But I wasn't. I was kind of, you know, the thought of somebody coming down the chimney in the middle of the night, even though, you know, it's kind of like freaky, you know.
Yeah, hold on, you said something about this before. It is a little freaky if you think about it.
Yeah.
Some grown guy jumping down the chimney while you're sleeping with your kids in the house. That's a little bit
Yeah. You know, you just remind me of
cause
something.
for concern.
I remember.
I would be up the whole night watching this chimney.
I remember when you guys were little, like every mother out there, put some milk out and, you know, a cookie, and then when you guys go to sleep, they break the cookie, so think Santa was there, you know? When I was young, my mother was very Italian. She spoke, you know, very little English.
Broken English.
And I guess she picked up on things, you know, being in America,
She
about Christmas.
Did she put biscotti
No,
and espresso out for Santa?
She would put cannolis
Oh,
out in a dish. All right, so this is crazy, man. And I was like,
he's gonna be here
we
9:30.
were like, Ma, Santa's he's not gonna eat cannolis. He wants a cookie. She goes, don't worry about that. So never mind, don't worry. It's okay. He's gonna eat
He's
what
gonna
we
like
give
it.
him. You know. So that was a funny thing. Man. We talk about that now. And my mother started speaking English better as we got older, and we asked her about that. She goes, what? She goes, I give good stuff to Santa Claus, you know? She wanted to give ice cannoli, but that was good. That's a funny thing we talk about sometimes. Ask me some questions.
All right, I'm gonna ask you. Christmas Eve for restaurants is obviously a big, big day. Managing your household and Christmas Eve, so you gotta work late. You come home. Now you're tired, exhausted. You still found a way to make it nice.
Well, you know something?
How?
Sometimes you gotta just thank God you have a wonderful mother.
Was she doing all the shopping?
Of course, I don't shop. I shop for her. That's it. She's all Sean for you guys.
Your favorite gift you got to Jack for
That I
Christmas?
gave Jack.
Yeah, gift that you got him for Christmas.
Oh gosh, man, that's a tough one because, you know,
Electric football.
oh yeah, I enjoyed the electric football because when we were little, me and my brothers used to play on that for hours on end. You know, the game that vibrates and the little guys, you know, and it was something I could play with him, which was nice.
Air hockey?
No, I've had that too, but I'm talking about electric football. It's a board like this, got a football
Oh,
field,
yeah, I know what you're talking
and it
about.
vibrates, you know. And
Back in Patchogue?
position the guys. Yeah, I think it was Patrick. But that's one. That's a gift I remember. And usually, you know, I didn't like gifts that you just take and you go on. I like gifts that I can do stuff with you guys, because even though I worked so much, when I did have time off, it was important for me to spend some time with you guys because I used to feel the guilt of not, you know what I'm saying? Of not seeing you guys all the time. And that's a hard balance to make, even with yourselves. Now you guys are seeing it. I'll tell you one thing, it involves having a very understanding wife. Because, you know, there's so many hours that I put into this business that
It's you know,
somebody's
it
got to
comes
hold
with
the,
it.
somebody's got to hold the fort down.
You know, one thing that I've admired about you, and I've
Tell me.
no, really.
Well,
Dad,
we're out of
no,
here.
No, honestly,
Tell me all about it.
really, honestly, I've seen you, I've watched you, and you're impossible to buy for. You're the most selfless person that I know. Every time I even recommend the idea of maybe even some white socks, just something, you always I get the same answer. Jack gets the same answer. And you always say, Anthony, Jack, I have everything I need. I don't need anything else. Even though you could use some white socks.
You know, it's interesting you say that.
It's always something I've admired.
You know, having grown up with little means, I was always so happy of being able to appreciate simple things. And I think as my life has progressed, I was always afraid of falling into that trap of living in a $2 million house, driving Ferraris and blah, 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 blah. I'm happier, closer to where I grew up. And that is, I don't need anything. I don't really want anything. You ask me sometimes, what would you do if you hit $1 billion lottery? And what do I say? How would my life change?
It wouldn't.
I'd still be living in the same house. I'd be driving the same car. We'd be eating the same food.
No one's gonna eat any better.
Because anything, when you start getting wrapped up in things like that, you start to lose who you are.
No,
And
listen,
I know who I am.
I
I'm a
don't
very
doubt
simple
that one
person who doesn't need anything or want anything. I know the important things in life. And I'm thankful for that my eyes are open. And that makes me happy, makes me content, and takes very little, you know, to make me happy.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I like a blackjack table, but that's another thing. We don't want to go down that path. Am I right?
No, we're not going down that one tonight.
Tell me I'm right.
No, you're right.
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
But you know, we're
I
not
wanted
gonna
the
die.
cause of me being so great. Tell me.
You know, I want. Was there ever a tradition in your family where the guys did get together, drink espresso,
Oh gosh.
roll some dice out, play a little bit of cards?
You know something? The older men, as I was growing up, used to play cards to all hours of the night. You know, I'd hear them downstairs, making these sounds or whatever. But me and my brothers, we started playing Atari. We got more into that stuff. Like you guys now, there's these games. Atari first came out back then, so we got kind of addicted to that a little bit. So the drinking, we do a little shot of Sambuca, and that's all it took to get me buzzed back then, you know. Yeah, we used to eat and then take naps and then wake up and eat again.
What's your favorite Christmas song?
You know what? I'm not sure I know the name of it.
Dominic the
No,
Donkey?
the donkey, no.
Uh,
No, it's the one, fall on your knees.
Hear the angels sing.
Yeah, I hear that one. I think about that song and I think about some of these songs, I know we'd close the restaurant up in New York, probably Christmas Eve we'd always close a little bit earlier. So we got all the catering out, all the people leave, and it just seems like the world just stands still for a while. Like the hustle and bustle's over, it's Christmas Eve. We know I'd see my brothers and sisters, I'd see them the next day, but it's Christmas Eve now. I get into my car, driving home, and I used to try to make that drive last a while because everything was still. I could see, it's like everything got clarity came about because all the catering is done and now it's just time now.
Relax.
I knew I was gonna go home. There were two little guys, you and your brother, daddy's home, I used to know how I felt my father would come home and how you guys felt the same way. It was just that stillness and that like knock on your heart that God says, you get it.
Yeah.
And it was just, and I hear these songs on the radio and, I was kind of cool back then, but, I'd crank it up in my car, and I like pipe it out, and it was very emotional. And you walk in and you put this big facade, daddy's home and this and that. And there's always good food, even on Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
And it's just that stillness when all the shopping is done, where the roads are quiet. It's about 10 o'clock at night, and you're just making your way home, and you look at those lights, and you just know, and you're thankful. Thankful you have a great family. Thank you have, like you said before, that you're not alone. I don't know how people get through life being alone. But sometimes it's the most simplest memories that are the most vivid and special. So I'm sorry I didn't come up with some great story about all kinds of stuff. But Christmas is about this simplicity.
Sure.
And the time to, just soak in the stillness. That was, on the way home. And every year it was crazy because it would happen.
Well, it goes by
Sometimes
so
I'll drive
quickly,
around the
though.
block. I drive around here and there to make it last a little bit longer. Because I don't walk in the house.
Yeah, Christmas,
So-
it seems to fly by,
Oh, goodness.
It's like Thanksgiving is done, and then all of a sudden you see lights go up. Some people kind of go a little crazy, maybe put them up before, I don't know. But, you see the lights go up, and then you're like, all right, we got a long month ahead of us here,
Mm-hmm.
But then there is a little bit of sadness, I gotta admit.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever those lights start coming down, and then you start getting into the January, and then the February, and you realize another year has passed by.
Mm.
And how many Christmases do you really get? I mean, really,
It's a good point.
who gets to have, who's guaranteeing 60, 70 Christmases for anybody? Nobody.
I want to have 85 of them.
Well, that'd be beautiful. But you dealt the cards you're given.
Yeah.
And I always think about that. Those lights come down, and I'm like, man, as annoying as it was at first to see the lights go up, they're coming down now, and that season's over.
But the great thing is, there's always another Christmas. And look, in the past several years, look how many you guys have brought kids into the world. And believe it or not, as a grandfather, somehow, Christmas becomes exciting, more exciting, believe it or not, than when you guys were little, because
you don't got to
I
deal
don't have
with
to
them.
work
Yeah, you have to
7 days a week, open to close, and
No, I'm just kidding.
now I get to, I get to do things with them that I wouldn't. My brain wasn't in the right place when you guys were young. Now,
But your heart was.
I have nothing but time.
Your heart was always in the right place, though.
I'm doing a puppet show with Jack's kids the other day. It was unbelievable. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this, but it was fun.
Can you do a reenactment?
Well, they wanted me to come, Grandpa, come to our room. We're gonna do a puppet show. Well, Gemma's putting the blanket up around the bed, and Jack's tearing it down. But anyway, she finally gets it up. They both get on the bed, and they got these little puppets, from the side, making up a story, and they're so cute. And I was sitting out in front, my legs crossed, out on the floor, and I was making sounds, and I was really enjoying it, And then abruptly they stopped. He goes, "Okay, Grandpa, we're gonna sit out in front, and you do the puppet show." I don't think it's been a long time since I had a puppet in my hand. But anyway, I get on their bed, fully clothed, with my shoes on and everything. I get behind the blanket, and I could see them from the side with these big eyes, thinking about what I'm going to say. And I had no idea what I was going to say.
It wouldn't have mattered.
But I made it like if, hi there, boys and girls. And I made different sounds in my voice with this guy here and then the other one. They were like, oh my gosh. They laughed so hard and they enjoyed it. And these are the things I wouldn't have done when you guys were little.
Right.
Because I have so much in my mind, so much in my brain that it's hard to
The
slow
idea
it down
of
that
putting your
much.
two hands together and being like,
Right.
"Hi, Rodney, Merry Christmas." No, hey, Joe, how you doing? It's like,
Right.
for us to think about that at the end of the night, it's kind of crazy.
Well,
but
if
now you got the time and the energy, and you get to go through that again. It's just with, our kids, which, we're a family, so it's...
But I've emphasized with you guys to find that balance. I was too tilted to one side. I want you guys to enjoy your kids, make the time, because
You don't get it back.
Christmas is not just in December. Christmas is every day.
Yeah, that's what you've always said. Every day is
Yes.
Christmas.
So it's time to, enjoy the gifts you have in life, and the most precious gifts you've learned by now are these beautiful children,
No question.
and the love you have for your family, and to be able to share the person that you've been blessed to be with other people. There's a lot of people who really enjoy your company, and I enjoy theirs. A lot of people I love I love sitting down at a table with customers. I know you guys do too. And it's just this is life. I mean, I'm not sure what people are expecting out of it, but these moments they're special. We take the time to make these moments special. It adds so much flavor to Christmas, to life. So, yeah, answer the question. You're gonna cut that out, right? I'm sitting here talking. I got a pain shooting up my ass. You won't believe.
Probably it was coming out of the age where we shouldn't have been believing in Santa. Okay, probably, I don't know,
18.
10, 11, 12, I'll say. And I remember asking Dad, and I knew the answer already. And I go, Dad, is Santa real? And he looks at me and goes, do you think that I would let a man come down our chimney in this house while we're all sleeping?
I remember that.
And that was closure for me. That, you know,
I'm sorry, buddy. I ruined it.
No, I couldn't have said it better.
You did great. Dad, you said, you talked about that you were tilted to one side with the balance of life, okay? I just want to say this. I thought that looking back, every moment that we had together, or most times that I can remember, was you always made it quality time, even though you might have felt that it wasn't a lot of time, quantity-wise, but for me and Anthony, we felt that it was quality.
No question.
That nobody had a better dad. And it wasn't only when we were little, all the way through till right now, I'm 33, 30, and you're still there, you're still guiding, you're still our greatest advisor. And
the time you give us is,
you know, I remember a wise man, and I'll never forget this. A wise man once said something that I'll never forget, and you guys have heard this, and that is, he'd come home from work, and he'd work a lot, but he would talk to his daughter, and he would say to her, you know, honey, the next 15 minutes, because he couldn't spend all day with her, the next 15 minutes are the most important 15 minutes of my day. And I'm gonna share it with you because nothing is more important than you. Now think about a young girl, maybe being 10 years old, listening to her father say, there's nothing more important than me to my dad. And he's sitting here, that 15 minutes will seem like 24 hours. He sits there, with undivided attention on this little girl who feels like she's got her dad captured. And think about that. So many people are in the same house, 10 hours. You're upstairs, you're doing this, you're doing that. And it's like having no quality time together at all. But you give me 15 minutes focused on you. Oh.
It's all the difference.
Of course, and I tried to do that. You know, I didn't have a lot of time, but the time I did have, I would try to make it where I focused in on you guys. You know? So you guys think back and say, wow, we have some great memories. But they were like little, you know.
Yeah, there was substance in that time. There was Sal, that was Dad. You know? It wasn't dead, you know, a dead period of time with you just in the house sitting there for 10 hours with no substance or information or guidance. It was all,
yeah.
Here I am.
It's just so nice to, from a dad's
Jack,
from a dad
get in here.
view, and to see that he has impacted his children in a really nice way. And I'll be honest, I'm really proud of you guys. You know, not so much for what I've done, but for what you guys are doing, and your just, you know, the love you guys have for your children. As a matter of fact, my life got easier when you guys started having kids. You started realizing. I remember Jack asked me once when he had his son. He goes, Dad, did you love me the way I love my son? I looked at him and I said this. You'll remember this, Jack. I said to you, I go, there is nothing you are going to do with your son that me and you haven't done. And to be able to say those words with such confidence, to know, I couldn't give any more of myself. No. I couldn't, you know, and there's only a certain amount you could do. As a matter of fact, you know, one of the things about having kids is that as parents, you know, one of the things we strive for is to see our kids happy, to see them grow up, of course, get married, have their own kids, but you want to see them happy. and you realize that you can't do anything to make your kids as happy as their kids are gonna make
Then.
you and your brother. So to see you guys, relish in that joy of being a father,
Yeah, but also we get to see you playing with our kids, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
sit there and think to ourselves, man, that's what he was doing with us.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
what greater, what greater thing to see, right? And it takes some. No, really, 3-4 years ago, before my kids, I always took for granted the time that an effort parents put into their children that we just never even knew about. 4 or 5 years old, you don't remember the hard times, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do that? And is it gonna work out? There's a lot of that going on, and it's only until you become a parent and you start to see how people can really struggle with this stuff and say, man, I yelled probably for weeks on end. Jack yelled for weeks on end. And you know what? You might have lost some sleep, but that's what you were willing to go through for us. And way more, by the way. But that gives me drive and the hope. We just don't think about it until we have kids, how important and how hard our parents worked. So I'm very grateful. And I've told you this before. I'm grateful for all the hard nights you, Mom, had to go through, to get to where we are.
Well, think
that we
about
don't even
this.
remember.
You'll remember. You're making the memories now as your kids are little. You'll remember them coming, into the room and getting all their gifts out of the tree, opening them up, and just getting so excited. I mean, they're getting so excited that they'll start on one toy and just to get the rest of them,
Yeah.
But these are the memories that you guys are building now that later on in life you'll be able to reflect on, And believe it or not, each Christmas has its own special part about it, because the ages change. Kids are more understanding when they're 8 than they were when they were 3.
Yeah.
And then they're more understanding when they're 13 or 14, whatever. So every Christmas is special. You're building memories all the time. And not to mention putting the pounds on. As the years go, you start eating, you start putting the weight on too. But
I'm still waiting for that.
believe me, it'll happen. Christmas is just my favorite time of year. I mean, people say that. I mean it. And it is special, Special. Yeah. What was that movie with that guy? What's it called? What's that guy's name?
The Christmas Story, Dad. It was the old Red Ryder BB gun he was talking about.
No, he's talking about
I
that
was
guy who
talking
said,
about
"Go get me some.
Goodfellas. Go get me that thing."
I understood him.
Dance.
Oh.
What's that guy's name?
I don't know. What's the waiter?
Yeah.
Who's the waiter? He was shooting at the feet. Joe Pesci. Dance who? What's his name?
That was we played on
used
that
to
for a
watch
long
mafia
time.
movies, It's like we watch mafia movies on Christmas.
Yeah.
Huh?
So,
All right. Well.
did you get a half hour?
Hold on, we're not done. So, obviously, it's been such a big, prominent thing for us, and we've taken as much away from the way that you did things for us, and we're trying to apply those into our kids, and we're all together, so always go with your instinct, and if you see us do something that you wish you could have done, you give us an idea or something, throw it out there, man. But ultimately, it's humbling to get to talk to you as a man. Now, I get to see more into your thought process and how special your memories were when you were a child, and how that's made you the man that you were, are, and will be in the future, Dad.
Let me just say something. I was very immature for a long time, even when you guys were little. I think when I hit 50, I started growing up a little bit. So you know, I'm glad that you guys have seen. You guys have seen the better parts. But
Well, we remember really, really great, great big parts, Dad, and we're grateful. And what a time for celebration, man.
yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm looking forward to this Christmas. I'm gonna make a lot of the goodies that we always have, and I'm gonna make some of those dishes with a little bit of twist.
Why don't you make something that we ain't ever had before?
Because it wouldn't feel like Christmas. These things,
Try it
you know, like Jack today said, I want lasagna and I want white clam sauce.
You can get both those things.
If
Like,
you
in
can
the
use a guy
kitchen.
lobster tail, he doesn't want that. He wants clam sauce and lasagna. You know what? I want clam sauce too. That's why I love clam sauce.
Well, you made it
And
really
the
good
way I
last
make it,
year.
forget
Was
about it.
delicious.
I make it good, right? A lot of
Awesome.
practice. I'm gonna make a bunch of seafood. Yeah, just different. The broccoli rabe, of course.
Oh, you can't forget that.
I'm gonna make the bacala as a salad. We cook the cod and you flake it all off and you put all the salad stuff in it. Comes out so delicious, but
All right, delicious, man. Well,
Yeah.
listen.
because the other seafood's gonna be fried. I don't like everything fried.
Right.
So the shrimps, calamari be fried, and the cod I'm not gonna fry.
I'm looking forward to it, and everybody will be. But ultimately, guys, we appreciate you guys all for watching. This is a very special man to us. He's a beautiful man. He's a great father. And honestly, we're very lucky to have a man like him.